Hello YouTube, Smells Like Vin here, and today I'm gonna talk about Clouds Taste Metallic by the Flaming Lips. I'm not gonna, do a big speech before I review. I'm just gonna go straight into it. Now the Flaming Lips are one of my favorite bands, and to be totally honest, they might just be the most unique band I have ever heard. Now to gain an accolade like that is pretty kind of flexible. There are a lot of unique, interesting bands out there who are doing unique and interesting things with music, but there's not a band that sounds quite like the Flaming Lips. They just have a unique live show. Everything they do is for the fun of music, and I think that's why I like them so much. They're a fun band. And if there's an album that represents that, I think it'd be the 1995 release, Clouds Taste Metallic. Now this is a fantastic album, and this is the last album with guitarist Ronald Jones, who Jones had a really unique guitar sound, very distorted, very fuzzy, and very thick. So the records that he was in were more guitar focused, and this is actually his last album with the band. He quit after this album, and that's what I think paved the way for more experimental albums like, Soft Bulletin and Yoshimi and stuff like that. And but when you listen to this album, it's a lot more mature, I think, than the previous albums. Albums like, In a Police-Driven Ambulance and Transmissions from the Satellite Heart. And the sound of this album is kind of hard to pinpoint because there are so many different styles going on here. You get songs like and this is a mouthful, so Psychiatric Exploration of the Fetus with Needles, Lightning Strikes the Postman, Kim's Watermelon Gun, stuff of that nature. Really heavy driving guitar sound, really quirky vocals, a lot of cool effects going on, really driving drums, really spacey lyrics. And then you get songs like When You Smile, Christmas at the Zoo, Bad Days, This Here Giraffe, which are way more, they're just as quirky and weird, but they are a lot more kind of toned down and light compared to the sizzling, almost acid rock feel to some of these songs. And the thing I think that also makes this album, so great is it has a flow that is perfect, and I almost don't know what it is. I think it's just the fact that right when there's maybe 3 or 4 tracks that are really heavy, really, I don't want to say heavy, like, heavy metal or anything like that, but pretty distorted, very thick with sound, and spacey. You get a song like, Place Bow Head Wound, right at that perfect moment when you need it, you know what I mean? And so the whole album is just like this perfect flow, and I think it's what makes the album so engaging and interesting to listen to, because every song is totally different from each other, and none of the songs mesh or anything. It's not like they kind of lump together and sound too similar. Every song is totally different, and I think that's great. Another thing is just the kind of technicality that the Lips do, because there's, I guess you could say some of the songs are simple maybe, but a lot of the time they're pretty big in their scale. A lot of effects, a lot of things going on. You always hear every instrument, and I again, the lyrics are just so strange that it's kind of like you have to stop and be like, whoa, okay, you know what I mean? A lot of these songs are really playful and almost childish in a way, to kind of use a term. A lot of these songs have this almost, like I said, playful, childish sort of feel, but it makes them really fun and happy, sort of, to listen to. And again, that's why I say they're just one of the most unique bands of all time. I mean, describing them is going to sound weird, and I wouldn't want to pigeonhole them in any sort of genre or style, but you'd have to listen to them to know what I'm talking about. But I'll try to describe them anyway. Wayne Coyne is a great vocalist. He's almost an anti-vocalist, and when I say that, I mean he's not always in key. In fact, rarely is he ever, like, perfect, on key. He almost has this kind of out-of-control voice where it's pretty, I don't want to say whiny, but I guess it has, like, a nice whine to it, if that makes any sense. It's kind of light, and they're kind of, like, again, like I said, I know I keep saying this, but even, his vocals are really playful and sort of, like, strange to listen to. But it totally fits the style and music of the album. I don't think there's really any singer who can front the Lips as well as Coyne does. I really don't think that the band would be who they are and have the personality that they do without Wayne Coyne. So his voice, just complements it so well. Stephen Rhodes is a great drummer. His drum beats are great, like on this here Giraffe, great opening drum beat. He knows how to further complement these songs, and he switches his style to whatever he needs to, basically. And I just think it's great. It's fantastic. And like I said, Ronald Jones is a great guitar player. His tone is just so unique, and I think it also helps make the album what it is. So, production is great as well. Everything is, some songs get a little bit muddy, just because, like I said, I do love the guitar tone on this record, but sometimes I feel like it gets a little too fuzzy, and certain songs seem sort of fuzzed out, but it almost kind of lends to the out-of-control spaciness of these songs, and of course on the lighter tracks, it's not, the distortion isn't as high. So I'm going to give this album a 9.6. I love it. If I had to pick my favorite song, it'd be a tie probably between Psychiatric Explorations of the Fetus with Needles or Lightning Strikes the Postman. I love those two songs. They're both fantastic. Both have great riffs, and it's great. My least favorite song would probably have to be Christmas at the Zoo. I don't hate the song at all. I don't even really dislike it. I just think it's probably the most interesting to me. But, opinions. So, yeah, fantastic record. If you're trying to get into the Lips, I would actually probably recommend this. I think their earlier stuff, stuff like maybe, Police-Driven Ambulance, Transmissions from the Satellite Heart, and this album would probably be a good place to start. But my starting point was this album, and I'm glad I did. Fantastic album. And, yeah, if you enjoyed this video, share it with your friends. Subscribe, comment, please comment. I love getting feedback. And when I do get feedback, it's usually constructive criticism in, like, the best way. So that helps, that really helps me a ton. So if you guys could, leave some feedback, I'd be appreciative. And I will see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.